Alrighty, as a digital public record used for recording transactions or tracking assets, blockchain technology is poised to rapidly reshape a range of industries in the years to come. Blockchain eliminates middlemen and increases trust by providing a more accurate and transparent ledger for goods moving through the global supply chain. With support from the legislature and public-private partnerships, Arizona is on the cusp of becoming a blockchain leader. And with that, welcome to Phoenix Business Radio X. I'm Bianca Buliga, Director of Marketing and Communications at the Arizona Technology Council. I'm temporarily filling in for the legislature and public. I'm temporarily filling in for Karen Nowicki, and I'd like to welcome you to AZ TechCast, sponsored by the Arizona Technology Council. AZ TechCast is dedicated to covering innovation and technology in Arizona and beyond. Broadcasted monthly, AZ TechCast invites tech and business experts to have real conversations about what's happening across the state of Arizona. AZ TechCast discusses the critical issues, topics, and trends propelling the state's growing tech ecosystem. Join me in giving a warm welcome to today's featured guests. We have U.S. Representative David Schweikert, who is currently serving his 6th term in U.S. Congress. How are you doing today, Congressman?
You know, just another day of chaos.
I believe that. We're happy to have you. Thank you for making the time. We also have Scott Carlson, Head of Blockchain and Digital Asset Security at Kudelski Security. Scott, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm happy to participate in the chaos.
We're happy to have you for the chaos. And last but certainly not least, we have Dragan Boscovich, Research Professor at Arizona State University. So these accomplished leaders are going to be joining Steve Zylstra, Council President and CEO, to break down the benefits of leveraging blockchain technology to improve workflows for a wide range of critical industries. We have a lot of interesting content to cover today, so let's just dive right in. I'm going to start by asking each speaker to briefly introduce themselves and the role that their organization plays in Arizona's technology ecosystem. Congressman Schweikert, do you mind kicking things off? I know you might have a bit of a different response than some of the other folks.
I'm not sure I would ever let the politician kick it off. Look, I have an absolute fascination, fixation that blockchain can do amazing things, both in capital markets, in social good, identity. I will also share with you, I'm intensely frustrated in the bureaucratic world, how hard it's been. It's not that complicated. So hopefully we can make some progress there because it feels like it's been years. I look forward to parts of the discussion.
Thank you so much. I'm going to pass things over to Scott Carlson.
Hey, thank you. So I'm Scott Carlson. I work at a company called the Kudelski Group. Our U.S. headquarters is here in Phoenix. I represent Kudelski Security today, which is the cybersecurity arm of the company. Part of our blockchain center here at Kudelski is to do a couple of things, right? We specialize in ensuring integrity of devices and encryption keys and systems and stuff, both from the design part as well as the testing part. And we do a lot of work to assure the safety of blockchains, smart contracts, and systems all around the world. We have some big partners like Solana and Elgrand and many companies here in Arizona. And so I help lead this, big team cross world to help make this safer to use once people decide it's okay to use.
Sounds fascinating. Thanks so much for the intro. Dragan, how about you?
Hi, Bianca. I'm good. And I like to start by basically saying that I'm new to academia. Although I'm not a young guy, I have spent 25 plus years in industry. In academia, I have been for the past, let me count, 8 years, first with Stanford and now with ASU. After spending basically most of my life working in advanced technologies with Motorola and Google in a global setting in UK, France, China, and US. I started blockchain research lab here at ASU back in 2017. We have hundreds of students that are very much interested in blockchain, and I'm now working hand in hand with Scott and few other people in a state here to basically run blockchain applied research center with objective of finding good applied applications, say, for blockchain. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, don't get too far ahead in the questions, Dragan. I know we'll be spending plenty of time talking about that a little later, but before we move on, I have to ask, where's the accent from?
I'm originally from ex-Yugoslavia, Belgrade. Although I have been out since '88, my accent is still there.
My family is Romanian, so I had to ask. The accent sounds very familiar to my ears. Thank you so much, Dragan. And Steve, what about you? Do you mind introducing yourself in the council, please?
Yeah, Steve Zylstra. I'm President and CEO of the Arizona Technology Council. We're a statewide technology trade association representing around 750 members. We have offices in Phoenix and Tucson. We do public policy advocacy on behalf of the tech industry at the state and federal level, do about 150 events each year, have a number of publications, and in addition to that, for our smaller members, we negotiate lower cost products and services on their behalf, like we run an association health plan, we run a 401k program. So pretty much a comprehensive trade association serving tech-based companies.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Now, I'm a little new to blockchain. You all know a lot more than I do, but I figured for the folks tuning in today, we would just start with the basics here. So who wants to jump in and explain what blockchain technology even is and what purpose it serves in business?
I would love to start that.
Go for it.
So the way I start by explaining blockchain to people is to ask them to imagine if they had to automate and digitize 100% of something, what would they need to do, or what would they need to figure out in order to make that happen? And that's what blockchain is trying to accomplish. And so first you need to digitize the information and put it somewhere. Okay, so let's do that, and we'll put it in, this database, this list of things. Now, how do I keep these transactions safe? Well, I have to encrypt them or sign them with some specialized mathematics so that I know, they're accurate and they stay the way that I put them. But if I just send them off into the internet or into some digital system, how do I know that nobody's messing with them? How do I know that it actually happened? Well, that's where all the other nodes come in, and they sort of watch these transactions and make sure that the math stays the same, the ledger is updated, and this list of transaction keeps going forward in a manner that we put on there, that it keeps the integrity the whole time. But when you think about the different, why would people participate in this? Well, you might have to reward them with some kind of incentive to participate. Either they get a reward by helping keep this current, or they get a reward by getting a little bit of interest kind of thing on maybe the token, the monetary unit, the incentive, fraction that they use to do this. And so to me, what a blockchain is our attempt at digitizing 100% of something in a manner that allows computers to keep it up, that math can prove it's always true, and that can automate different steps with a ton of people watching it so that we know it actually happened. We don't have to trust any human beings anymore. That's what blockchain is to me.
Congressman Schweikert or Dragan, anything you want to add to the definition or expand upon that?
I might like to add a few things. I like what Scott said. That's very technical, I would say. I would start with simplification and say that basically I see blockchain as being third wave of internet revolution. Okay, so if first wave, or if we really call that Web 1.0, was all about enabling us to get easy access to information, that is read, okay, just read. Then with Web 2.0, we had basically ability now to interact with internet, and we can write. So we have Facebooks and LinkedIn's and also other things. With blockchain that is enabling Web 3.0, that is now enabling us to own the data, okay? And I would put emphasis on own. So now the data is not really my data that I leave in internet is not Google's or Netflix data, it is my data, and now blockchain is giving me ability to tokenize that, and as Scott explained, also get something in return for trading that data in context of applications that other people are interested in.
Congressman Schweikert, what are some of the benefits that blockchain brings to business workflows? And are there particular industries or transactions that benefit more than others?
The answer is yes. And look, as we're trying to define blockchain, this is something I've learned several years ago. I used to do a whiteboard presentation on how I would set up an escrowing system if a blockchain ran slow, now, and I realized I was doing whiteboard presentations on the technology and the concept of the node networks. And here's my, I could split my nodes, and here's my nodes that do certification, and what, do I need 100%? And then I came to almost the question you're asking. The vast majority of people don't want to know how it works, don't need to know how it works. We need to sell the benefits. You and I may be interested in the underlying technology because it's really neat and actually shockingly simple if you really whiteboard it. But as you think about everything from commercial transactions, the ability to have smart contracts, the ability to have copyrights attached in this digital world. But I've even been trying very hard for the last few years to come up with local and state models. How many pieces of equipment do every city own? How many of them own the same piece of equipment? Could you ever put them up on a well-designed distributed ledger and say, why don't we start just a system of Tempe shares with Scottsdale, Scottsdale shares with Phoenix, instead of buying a piece of equipment that sits in the storage shed and gets used twice a year? It was the ability to document its asset, document its use, and even set up a trading payment system. And so for use cases for students at ASU, there's lots of these examples where it could have really good government, good economic, but also personal ID and personal information protection. We need to be selling the benefits and probably fewer conversations on how a node network works.
Other input on the benefits of blockchain, and particularly that question about, are there particular industries or opportunities that are lend themselves more to blockchain than others?
Well, I think Congressman is right on there with his use cases there. A lot of the tracking use cases, I think, are the ones that people definitely find value in and actually understand the most. On one end you have, will this ever replace money? That's a big debate that people have. On the other side, is it okay to consider this the same as a database, right? There's the Pierce on the other side. But when you start thinking about a supply chain transaction or tracking a piece of good, if you can guarantee that you know exactly where it is, that you followed the whole time, and that you can kind of go claim it and somebody can approve that, that has a lot of use in bartering and buying and selling and moving things around. that we have never been able to do before. We have never been able to automate these kind of systems and make the information available safely. I think that's what's a really good benefit of this.
Scott, you
Dragon,
actually bring up an interesting point there with being able to track goods. Do you think there's a big opportunity to sort of implement blockchain with some of the supply chain issues that we're seeing right now? Is there a way to maybe make those systems more efficient going forward?
Yeah, blockchain will never fix availability of goods problems. It won't get more ships or put minerals in the ground. But what it could do is it could allow information exchange quicker so that people have the information up to the second with where everything is. I mean, if you can make sure that the information gets in to the supply chain at the beginning correctly, step 0, the information is accurate, you can pretty much keep it accurate up to the second or up to the last check-in the whole time, and then expose that to everybody so they know what the truth is right then. I think that's a super important thing, is that everybody understands that the integrity and the truth, like, it's actually accurate. People like accurate things.
Congressman, it seems like you're dying to chime in on something. Do you have something to add?
And I think the professors' classes have actually looked at some of this. Many of us are trying to make economic models and tax models and those things. And much of the information we're basing it on has just, forgive, I'm going to use a technical term, lots of slop in it. And, Trade Subcommittee for Ways and Means, we have a running debate. How much that is it? How many billions of dollars of goods are sitting on ships? And it's out there. But could you imagine if you had it in a fashion where it was actually usable, protected, couldn't be played with? For those of us who are trying to make tax, trade types of decisions and, economic decision making, it's basically the backbone of information theory.
Dragon, is it the benefits of blockchain that inspire your students to get interested in blockchain and study the subject?
I think students definitely think differently to us, and I would say that they are much younger and they were born in this era of shared economy that Congressman tried to explain. So for them, sharing the scooter and the car and the bike is just normal. Okay, so they basically see a world with different pair of eyes than us, and for them, blockchain is just enabling really transactional use cases. And blockchain is good for that I can monitor transaction, I can verify, I can audit that real time. So they see plenty of applications, and I can spend probably half day just counting them. Some of them are good. Some of them will need some further work on, but that is normal. What I want to say that we have students that are happy to invest time and energy into something that they see is new, that they see is giving them a better starting position in this world. And I would say that my student club right now has over 200 students with many networks coming to present. And for instance, student club already runs as DAO organization. They have Web3 page. They don't have basically web page. They have that on blockchain as an NFT. So they are completely in this space. and we need to follow them and learn from them, same as they learn from us, from our experiences.
I think
I'd like to jump in really quickly before Scott, you jump in. I want to make sure we're carving out some time for our commercial breaks to thank our sponsors, and then you can jump in right after. So I want to start by thanking the Arizona Commerce Authority, AZ TechCast's 2022 innovation sponsor. The Arizona Commerce Authority is the state's leading economic development organization with a streamlined mission to grow and strengthen Arizona's economy.
Our streamlined pro-business approach helps you achieve more by putting less between you and future success. Less red tape, lower taxes, less distance separating you from the tech leaders of tomorrow. This innovative ecosystem will supply your business with tools and resources to compete in the 21st century and beyond. But your future is more than just business success. In Arizona, the lifestyle you want is at your fingertips. Explore cities known for their Southwest heritage and modern vision. Enjoy beautiful scenery and endless outdoor activities on land, water, or snow. And if you're looking for a little friendly competition, we've got plenty of teams to choose from. With constant sunshine, vibrant culture, and natural wonder, Arizona provides a style of living that's entirely unique. People from all over the world call our state home. From student leaders who fill the classrooms of our top-ranked universities, to a skilled and abundant workforce that's ready for what's next. To the neighbors, friends, and peers we interact with daily, Arizonans are united by a pioneering spirit that moves us forward. So as you look to the future, know that it's filled with the perfect balance of innovation and high-quality living that makes life better here.
See, even the commercial had student leaders top of mind. I hope that gave you a moment to collect your thoughts, Scott. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, one thing that Dragon said that's really interesting to me is that students kind of have no limits. They have no bounds. They don't have we used to do it like this, so we still have to do it like this mentality. And one thing that's really cool about Arizona is this blockchain sandbox that got created a few years ago where we can safely experiment with this technology. It's really interesting when you think about, blockchain changing all the things, right? You just put blockchain on everything. And so first you have to experiment to see if you can do it. And then you have to think through, should you do it? But we can't forget this part. Is it legal to actually do it in the real world? There are things here in Arizona which still require wet signatures because that's in the law. There are things that are money versus not money. These things have to be instantiated in law for this to actually have practical implications. And, I know the congressman has worked a lot on that the last couple of years. And I've had a little bit of influence in some of the conversations there. And it's, really important that we be able to experiment in order to figure this stuff out early.
Scott, you brought up an important point. All of us are Arizonans and we care about Arizona and its economy and its future. What have either the private or the public sector done around blockchain to exert leadership? You mentioned the sandbox, that's one aspect of that. What are some of the other things that Arizona, again, either the government or the private sector have done to sort of take the lead on blockchain? Any of you?
There's some companies here, right, Dragon? Dash is located here. There's a lot of experimental startups here, supply chain companies. Kudelski's located here. We're doing a bunch of blockchain work. I know the congressman has a bunch of bills that have gone through and are in proposed right now. So I think we're actually pretty advanced. We might not have crossed the finish line on all the legal things, but we're a pretty good tech hub here. And with GPEC and the Tech Council and the Blockchain Research Center, I think we're experimenting with some really cool things.
Dragon, anything in particular at ASU that comes to mind in terms of the leadership? I don't know, for instance, whether all the major universities have blockchain activities, teaching, research going on. Does ASU stand out?
Yeah, I think we have started early. We are not the first ones, but we are fast followers, as we like to say. So when I speak to some people, we are definitely recognized as one of the leaders among top 10, 20. Our advantage is that we have large body of students. We are also very well plugged into global initiatives. We work with other institutions in Europe, in Asia. Just today, I did receive recognition from EU that ASU is the best collaborative university for blockchain. So I think we have a lot of things to be proud of. As I like to say, I'm relatively new to Arizona too, but I feel already so much embedded, and I see endless opportunities for us to advance this going forward.
Congressman, I think long before I even heard of blockchain, you were already promoting how important it was, use cases, you were introducing legislation. So as our congressman, you've taken the lead at the federal level on blockchain. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that?
Well, with that, and you told me earlier that we're not allowed to do any cursing. So look, there really are amazing opportunities, and but you have to weave through the law up and down. So let's say Arizona, and I'm sorry, but I like to almost take it back to actual use cases to help folks sort of see it. Let's say we put land title, the title chain. So we march down to the county recorder's office, we put the chains of title on a blockchain, and you could use every government server, at the state and county, so you have lots of nodes, you can, set up, so, it avoids certain other issues. If we did that in state level, wonderful. Now you need to actually align a number of federal laws, because are you allowed to get a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, a guaranteed loan if the title policy is issued through a chain? So there's lots of that sort of thing. The stock certificate you get, the credentials you have that you have this licensure and you want to move across states, or you want to operate in the Federal National Guard, or these sorts of things. So that's one of the things we do in Congress, is we're trying to weave through every time we get an opportunity that, say, if there's a certified chain of this standards of these, that it's recognized. One of the other ones we've worked on, and we've actually accomplished parts of this, is types of medical data, what level of encryption works. And I believe this is incredibly important. And you and I have talked about this. I believe much of the technology in Arizona it's going to be actually the personal medical, but the rails that data runs on, I believe, will be a tokened, encrypted blockchain, because you still need to allow your emergency room to look at it if you're there bleeding and unconscious, but at the same time, you want to see who's looked at you.
Right.
So there's lots of layers. Last thing I'll throw out, a few years ago, Representative Winiger and myself, we met with, I won't name who, ADOT, and talked to them about, they're going through this large data project. Why not just start with something simple? Put our driver's licenses on a chain. And that way, in the future, if I wanted to put my hunting license or my real estate license, or have levels of permission, and put my tax returns, where that way I could see who's looking at me, but I have access to all the things the state or the county or my local own. And it was shocking. Everyone loved the little whiteboard presentation, except it terrified the bureaucrats, because the number of them who realized it would make Arizona citizens' lives so much simpler having a single porthole that's secure. And then you take it to the social good. I know I'm rambling a bit, but you're the police officer, you have the homeless person on the side of the street, your ability to identify them, to know what benefits they're signed up for. Are they in the state healthcare system? Are they off their meds? There are things, so you and I immediately start to think about, okay, the business that wants to know how much of its equipment is sitting on a container ship. And for those sometimes in government, we're trying to say, this also could really help in the management and of our information and our social services.
I definitely don't want us to get into a discussion about voter rights, but could blockchain be used in the voting process? As you know, there's legislation moving through state legislatures around the country, including here, to make voting safer and so on. Could blockchain be used for that?
Sure. And that experiment has already occurred 3-4 years ago in a number of small municipal jurisdictions, I believe in Massachusetts and a couple other places, where they used a chain. And so far, proof of concept, it's small, but it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
If I can
go
Can
ahead.
I chime in on that real quick? When you ask the question, would it be really useful to have a central place to look up information? It would be really useful. It would be really useful. It was current. It would be really useful. I could trust it. But when you ask questions like that, people tend to think about what they know over the last 10, 20, 30 years, which is if I put information all in one place, it just gets hacked.
Right.
Which is some of the things we need to overcome in the conversational aspect of blockchain, because when we know the technology underneath, we think the math is strong enough, the nodes will prohibit that, the different rules of the contracts stop certain things. But we still have human beings involved at the front end of some of these processes. We still have some, insecure devices at the front end of some of these processes. So we really have to test the use cases, the tech plugged in with the process, plugged in with the people, to see if we're ready. There are some use cases we're just not ready for. Others we're well past ready for. And I think that's a pretty interesting thought exercise when you start to go through the steps one at a time.
Yeah.
Dragon,
One of the, go ahead, Steve.
I was going to ask both Dragon and Scott, you've alluded to the Arizona Blockchain Applied Research Center, which has come into being in the last couple of years. Could you tell us what the partnership is about, what you hope it will lead to, what it might look like 2 to
Dragon?
5 years from now?
Go ahead, Dragon.
Yeah, I can start and you can fill in, Scott. So basically, BARC, as we call it, is a PPP, public-private partnership between industry and Arizona government. And objective is definitely to promote the use of blockchain technology for applied or onto applied problems that will basically make Arizona become a living lab for those industries that like to think a step ahead, like to move from centralized to decentralized mode of operation, would like to tap into talents that we have here in Arizona. And I think that is one of the objectives that we have in mind. We have assembled strong industrial support beyond Kudalski, that is a founding member and initiated the process. We have Intel that is very much involved. We have then early warning from financial services that is very much involved. We have BD on the medical device supply chain that is involved. So I'm just mentioning few, and the ecosystem is growing. Our objective is to bring also smaller, younger companies that can benefit from infrastructure that we are putting in place. I would just mention one example. For instance, we have Fashion X that is basically a small company here in Phoenix focused on fashion, and they like to build metaverse, and they like to have their supply chain on blockchain. So those are smaller companies, but we with very fresh thinking, and we are helping them take advantage of what we have in the States. And all this is also supplemented with the additional funding from the state in order to promote this development. So I'll stop there and ask Scott if I missed anything so that he can add.
And Scott, was this state funded?
Yeah, it partially is. And so the key word here is the applied part, right? So that's built originally with matching funds from the state. Corporate entities put in their chunk, the state matches the funds to then fund the center. And when we were doing the original conversations, really the focus was on the word applied, right? We know a lot of research never leaves the lab, never really influences your local economy. And that's kind of the point here. How do we influence local Phoenix, local Arizona with this applied research that will help solve some of these problems for real? These companies are, local, and we're, focused on applied sort of outcome projects that not only could be monetized, but useful as building blocks to other people. A couple of the early projects are about, automatic identification of devices if you're going to use it on a chain, or how do you track it around a building if you move a medical device around? How do you keep track of voting if, for instance, you're supposed to if you could do corporate voting? I know many people who are listening probably have proxy voted with their stock shares. And, if you look at the actual process of that, how it is today, you kind of vote to your broker, who kind of votes to somebody else, who kind of votes to somebody else, and then they aggregate them and then they vote. But if that could be rewound all the way where you knew how many votes somebody got and they could just click a button and it would vote, that would be faster and maybe more useful in a lot of different use cases. So we have to experiment that. And so I fixate a lot on the word applied, because we have to go play for real. In the cyber world, you have to try it and play for real and lose a few times and then get it right. And that's what we're doing here in the Applied Research Center.
Bianca, you were going to ask something earlier and I interrupted you.
You read my mind, but I'm curious in terms of the rollout of AZBark. That's actually the main reason that I put together this TechCast, was because I saw the press that was going around this new initiative. So congratulations on that. But I'm curious too, is there an opportunity with AZBark to extend education and to invite more women and people of color into the conversation to help shape the future trajectory of this technology?
Absolutely. One of the things that we have talked about at the founding members is how to bring more members in, not only the corporate sponsors, but what kind of good can we do with these projects, and how can we use the state provided funds to think about the startups and the interesting thing they're doing. And Dragan, I know you work with students and other sort of research projects with folks in locally here like this.
Yeah, I can expand on that too. So I would just give one example. Just recently, for instance, we have received invitation to apply for the Blockchain Center of Excellence that is funded by Algorand Network. And again, that is based on the recognition, both what we are doing on applied side with industry and what we are doing on academia. As I said, our student club is 200 plus students, and those are not just engineering students. It is really minority that we have. There are engineering students. We have design, business, math, just to mention few, art, of course. And they come from all ways of life. So for them, blockchain is something that they see as a fresh opportunity, equalizer in many different ways, not just economic. And they would like to be pioneers. So I'm excited to be on both sides, basically using my industrial experience to work with Scott and others to look into applied issues, problems, but at the same time, finding and drawing energy from younger people and their ideas, trying to put myself in their shoes and thinking how they see this world and what they see in blockchain in order to help guide them. So very exciting and very fulfilling.
I appreciate that we're approaching it from a holistic lens. Before we do move forward, Steve, I would love to just thank our second sponsor, our 2022 Tech Advocate sponsor, JDH Insights. They are a leader in coaching and executive development and are committed to helping organizations cultivate and leverage their most important and complex asset, their humans.
Thank you, JDH Insights, for being our 2021 Tech Advocate sponsor. A leader in coaching and executive development, JDH Insights is committed to helping organizations cultivate and leverage their most important and complex asset, their humans. Visit jdhinsights.com to enhance leadership and improve team dynamics to take your business to the next level.
Congressman, I used to tell people that you were the most tech-savvy congressman of the delegation. Of course, then we added Mark Kelly to the delegation, so now maybe it's a toss-up. But you've always been a strong supporter of STEM education and the importance of technology and driving the economy forward. How can we attract more students into these kinds of academic situations where, you know, blockchain is a real opportunity for them and could create an entire career around it?
March into a handful of the high schools that may have the demographics that make you nervous and say, we want to do a club. We're going to go get a couple sponsors and we're going to teach you how to program a video game. We're going to teach you how to do some of the most basic coding. And if you can't do it on the school campus, find the crappy building across the street, clean it up and make a club. The fact of the matter is, and my reason I say this is we tried this a couple of years ago at a high school in South Central Phoenix, and we were functionally shied away. We were shocked. And we had a couple good corporate sponsors, and all they wanted to do was basic programming of sort of, because it was sort of that introduction. You know, as the argument is certain types of coding in the future, I don't want to say will be almost blue collar, but it's not like how many of you and I grew up where we had to figure out, you know, to write the line of code and test it and write it and test it and test it and write it and then break it. The ability to do assembling now, just building that mindset with young people. And then the thing that's heresy is also redefining what is a high-tech education. Is it my 4-year computer degree? You know, or is it, I started school, but what I'm doing is I'm getting an Oracle DBA that without a 4-year degree, but that certificate makes me valuable. And that means, once again, are you willing to disrupt many of our friends in sort of what is the establishment? If you really care about these young people, maybe we should start to think about the way we do accreditation and the way we do the introduction to the technology very differently.
Some disruptive thinking.
And we talk about it a lot and are terrified of actually executing.
Yeah. Scott, companies like your own are having a hard time finding talent during this great economy that we've got going right now. And talent is critically important to you being successful at what you're doing.
Yep.
Tell us what Kadolsky's doing around workforce, around STEM
Sure.
education that could benefit the students we're talking about.
Well, you know, that's almost a joke sometimes in high tech. When you put out an entry-level job, you say must have 5 years of experience in blockchain, you know, must be programming Rust for 20 years, and it's only been around 2 years, right? But so you never get any people who apply. And once we realized that, we had to form a team internally and sort of figure out, how do we approach this differently? How do we start doing career fairs? How do we figure out more along the lines of, let's find the right people who fit in our culture, who have the right thinking process that we can then teach the cyber skills or teach the blockchain skills. We are starting to look at the folks we're bringing in as very capable human beings. Like, really, that's what it is. They have the ability to think through problems that we throw at them. We are then putting them through a boot camp to train them on blockchain and cyber and how to be the bad guy. A lot of what we do is pretending to be the bad guy before the bad guy is that. And so we have a number of initiatives internally, local in Phoenix and globally, for all the different regions of the world and communities of people, as well as career fairs that we are trying to step into to figure out which one is right for the type of people you bring in to the cyber world. There is obviously a gap between entry-level skill and 20-year expert skill. But unless you start to do this mentor apprentice thing, which I don't think cyber does enough of, we won't grow the younger talent into the 20-year expert in 20 years. We better start. And I think we are.
And apprenticeships are becoming much more popular in IT and cyber. We've been supporting a model called Apprenti, and PayPal, in fact, is using it in cyber and IT right now. It was developed by the Washington Technology Industry Association, our peer in Washington State. Dragan, we have a very active meetup group, blockchain meetup group here in Arizona, run by Jay Carpenter. You've mentioned that you have 200 students in your club. That's pretty impressive. But what can we do to attract more students into pursuing degrees or certifications, as the Congressman mentioned, in this area?
I know Jay, and we work very closely on a few issues. And I like what I hear, that basically having university degree is not necessarily something that qualifies you to be excellent in applying knowledge on a specific problem. So here at ASU and in association with business school, we have also this schema by which students are placed in industry, in workplace for a year or two, and they are getting the credits or experience that they get within that work environment, and then that counts towards their degrees. I think ASU, again, being very innovative as it is, we definitely recognize the need to play more closely with industry, understand the needs. Nowadays, I think the skill or the set of skills that you need in order to accomplish specific job is probably much greater than ever before. So you need to more or less be Swiss knife, and I'm sure that Scott is going to like that because Kudelski is a Swiss company.
Congressman Schweikert, you work at the national level, at the federal level. You get to see what's going on nationally. Are there other states that have been doing things that are innovative in blockchain that we should be looking at? How can we stay competitive as a state with what's going on around the country?
Look, we did good when we adopted the sandbox. And forgive me, I've had a lot of caffeine already today, so maybe I'm sounding a little more cynical than normal. But I've been frustrated we haven't moved on it. We've had so many sort of case studies, and a good example is, my real estate license is public data. You can go online and see it right there. It's already in an open database. What harm does it make saying we're going to build a backbone behind that and start to build off of things like that? So I do have a level of frustration, but I do see other states. Iowa did some really creative things a couple of years ago. Massachusetts, has an incredible talent pool around them. And with their experiments, they even doing some local elections California as a state government talking about wanting to be able to track produce, and certain health and safety data. My fear is we were an early starter as Arizona, building some concepts, but we're no longer truly the cutting edge anymore. We need to step up our game and say title policies can be on a chain, or start to do, or we recognize certain types of smart contracts. My payment of my taxes to the state are between individuals, or these things. Arizona will recognize these types of executed smart contracts. There's an opportunity here if we're going to build this, and we're also becoming sort of the warehousing center for Southern California. If we're also on the cusp of autonomous trucks, autonomous freight, all these other things, just building the mechanisms of how do you recognize, how do you pay, hey, the truck just crossed the state line, pay the driver this much money. All that stuff will need a bit of a statutory backbone from the state legislature.
Yeah. Bianca, do we have time for one more question?
Sure, let's do one more.
Yeah, time goes so fast. Would any of you like to talk about any trends that you're seeing in blockchain that our audience might not be aware of, that have caught your eye, particularly, things that might be transformed as a result of blockchain over the next decade? Any predictions for 2030 and what we might look like as an economy as a result of blockchain?
So over the last 18 months or so, the amount of venture capital funds flowing into this ecosystem is insane. There's so much money. And a lot of that money is going to infrastructure, but also a lot to digital ownership, digital rights, this NFT topic, this sort of permanency of a digital item. And what I actually think will happen over the next few years is that we will start to explore topics like, what if I can own my copy of Bambi instead of just buy it on DVD and VHS? I have a digital copy and I can put it wherever I want. My titles and properties and ID will be a digital artifact that I can get wherever I want. These things will start to be real because we will get used to the fact that, like, I took a picture on my iPhone and it's a digital copy of my family. These digital copies of things are also mine and I can use them wherever I want, not in the place somebody told me I could use it, but I can freely move it around. I think we're going to start to see that.
Congressman, are we going to have a digital dollar?
Yeah, at some point. But that's more trying to reduce friction as it is anything. And once again, if it's a Federal Reserve issued dollar, it's functionally just part of money supply. So, but I can actually take you through a couple case sort of thought experiments. As you know, healthcare costs are the primary driver of US sovereign debt. Over the next 30 years, 112 trillion in borrowed money in today's dollars, 3/4 of that is just Medicare. If technology is the opportunity to do a disruption of the cost of healthcare, I will argue data, blockchain, protection of your medical records, but also even things of, well, if I'm wearing the thing on my body or blowing into it, that I'm allowing the algorithm to write a prescription because the sensors are so good. Just that mechanism needs to be on a well-encrypted, protected, distributive ledger, but also has different levels of permission. So I need to protect my information, but I need the pharmacy to be able to see it so they can write the script or fill the script. So it's chicken and the egg. Can we change federal law and state laws where technology is allowed to write a prescription? And as soon as that becomes the law, then the infrastructure underneath it, I believe, is filled by the chain.
Very cool. Dragon, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would agree with everything that has been already said. I would just mention that I see blockchain as enabling business innovation, and we are moving into data economy. So blockchain is enabling data transactions. So what Congressman mentioned is right. It is not any longer that I'm just lending my data or giving my data away. I would like to be in the center of those business models, and my data should be basically paid for by other people needing that. So that is where I think we are moving to, and in 10, 20 years, I'm not sure.
I have that piece of legislation to make your data a property right. So, which actually fits very nice in the whole concept of ecosystem.
Very cool.
Well, gentlemen, I know we're running out of time here. Steve, did you have anything else you wanted to add before I close things out?
Just express my great appreciation for all three of you being here today. It's been a greatly interesting conversation. It's impactful, and it's going to change the way we live and work in the future. So we appreciate your insights and the education you've provided me and the rest of our audience. And thank you for being here today.
Yes, and thank you for making blockchain just a little bit more digestible for me too. You've been listening to AZ TechCast, folks, brought to you by Phoenix Business Radio with Business Radio X. Today's AZ TechCast was brought to you by the Arizona Commerce Authority, the state's leading economic development organization with a streamlined mission to grow and strengthen Arizona's economy. So thank you, Arizona Commerce Authority. And many thanks to JDH Insights, the 2022 Tech Advocate sponsor. Visit jdhinsights.com to enhance leadership and improve team dynamics to take your business to the next level. And if you're interested in being a podcast participant or a sponsor for the Council's AZ TechCast, contact marketing@aztechcouncil.org and I will respond to lock in your opportunity to further position you as a tech expert, influencer, and innovator. Until next time, I'm Bianca Boliga, filling in for Karen Nowicki. Thank you for joining us for AZ TechCast.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of AZ TechCast with Arizona Technology Council, featuring leading tech and business experts that help influence and shape our great state and the industries they serve.